Hey there, guys. It's me, Angie. Come on in here and let's have a little talk. Now, this is about the fourth time that I've tried to get this video finished, but the last time, right in the middle of taping, my husband comes in and interrupts the whole thing. So I have to stop taping. But anyway, he was supposed to be hunting, but now he's asleep in the chair. So that's why I'm back here in the back trying to film my video for today. No problem. I'll just change positions. I had originally started in front of my Christmas tree with all my decorations, and I wanted you all to see how Christmassy I could make my video. But that's not going to happen on this one. Maybe tomorrow's video. But I just wanted to get this one out because I wanted to talk to you about a few things, and let's just share and talk like we normally do. The first thing, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, whatever, how you celebrate the holiday in December. I hope it's very happy and brings you much peace and joy. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing is, I finally got all my Christmas presents wrapped. Well, I didn't exactly. I had a friend of mine to come over and help me finish the larger presents that I had because I couldn't pick them up. But I did wrap the smaller presents. It took me a little while, but I got it done. Our plans for the holidays worked out wonderful. My family, my whole family, my daughter and her husband, my son and his wife and my grandbaby are all going to be here Saturday, Christmas Day. And we're going to spend Christmas evening together and the night and the next morning. My son and his family are not going back home until Sunday morning. So we're going to open presents Christmas Day later on that night. And they're going to let Berkeley stay home Christmas Eve and wake up Christmas morning with Santa Claus, which that's what they should do. She should get in a routine of that's where Santa Claus comes to visit her. It's her house. So I'm very thrilled that we get to spend Christmas Day, Christmas evening, and the next day with my whole family. We'll wake up, we'll all eat breakfast together, like we used to do. You know, a few years ago, we'd all get together when my son was going to college and he was dating Haley. When Taylor was dating Brent, we'd all get here at the house and gather and on holidays, and it was all such a good, joyous time. And that's what I'm looking forward to. Another thing that we do that I started a few years ago, Mississippi has a lottery now, and so does Louisiana. So what I do is I go and buy, let's just say it's 6 of us, and I buy 12 tickets. And I put numbers in a jar, 1 through 6, and let each person draw a number. And whatever number they get, that's when they get to draw one of the tickets. Now, we'll have 2 rounds of it where we'll do the first round of tickets and we'll put the numbers back in the jar. We'll do the next round of tickets. That way, none of the children can say, well, you put the ticket that had $100,000 in their stocking. I won't get blamed for it. So I covered myself on that. But anyway, we do things like that. We eat finger food, and then Sunday we'll have a big meal. But it may be Saturday. I'm not really sure. We haven't got that far yet. But it's going to be a great time. I hope your holidays will be wonderful. Now, I know some people are going through things that they don't really, they're dreading the holidays. They're not really looking forward to them. And I've had years that I was like that also. I mean, you may have lost a loved one. You may have had problems within your family that you and a family member are not speaking anymore. You and your child may not be speaking. Something's disrupted, an illness. Something's disrupted the holidays. I just want to say that I'm saying a special prayer for you and to let you know that things will get better and things will change. And just get through this time and try to look at maybe a sparkle of something good that you have to look forward to. I want you to try to find something that you know the one above or the universe or whatever is looking after you and that you're going to be okay. Well, the next thing I want to tell is a story about my life. Now, I know that I have shared a little bit about my life in the past videos, but I don't think I've shared this story. I found my biological father when I was 36 years old. I grew up for many years not even knowing that I had a different dad than my other siblings. When I was 6 years old, my oldest sister's dad passed away, who I carried his last name. My oldest sister and I had the same last name. And then my younger two siblings had the same last name of my stepfather, who my mom was married to for 20 years. So I just thought he was my biological father, but I still had this deep feeling that maybe somehow something was different. I don't know if I can explain to you how I felt, but I didn't feel like I belonged in the family. Now, I looked like my mother, so they said, and I knew I couldn't be adopted, but something else had to be going on. And I really didn't understand what it was because I was so young. Well, her father died, and my mom took both of us to the funeral home. Well, they all knew her. They were hugging her and greeting her and all that, but they never greeted me. But I was old enough to sign in, where you sign in to say you were a visitor to meet with the family, after the loved one at the funeral home. So I remember writing my name, Angie Buckley. So, but they didn't know me. They only spoke to her. Well, even as young as I was, that just kind of stood out to me. Why are they acknowledging her but not acknowledging me? Well, when I got back home, my grandmother, who I dearly loved and was very supportive of me and was most of my security through my life, and I lived with her before I got married, and she lived with me the last 5 years of her life. But we were very close. And you can ask any of the other grandchildren, she had 12, who was her pick and who did she favor, and they would say me. And I didn't choose that, she did. But, so she got me off in a room and said, look, your mom needs to talk to you about something. But my mom never talked to me about anything. So I didn't get any answers that day. Well, skip along years later, and I was a teenager. And I wanted to know who my father was. So I asked my mom about it. Well, I don't know why I did, because she became very angry. She wouldn't talk about it to me, but she would talk about it to her sisters, other people we went to church with. My oldest sister, she would talk to her about it. My oldest sister would come to me and say, Mama said this about your daddy. Mama said that. But she would never talk to me, who I was the result of what happened in the relationship. So I never really understood how she could talk about it to everybody else but me. So when I confronted her, she got really, really angry. I almost ran away from home because it really got ugly. But after that, I never mentioned it to her again. And my mom and our relationship got further and further apart. She was never maternal toward me. She and I were never close. I never trusted her. I felt like she was keeping this big secret away from me and wouldn't tell me, and I just couldn't trust her. But anyway, as I got older, I decided that I was going to find out who my father was. Now, when she and I got in this big dispute over me asking as a teenager, she blurted out a name, and I never forgot it. So I couldn't really be sure that that was the right name, because I had heard, because we live in a small town, that this one could be my dad, that one could be my dad, and I just didn't know if she was telling me the truth. Well, as I got older and I went to work at the bank, I found out that one of our customers was a cousin to this man that I had heard was my father. And he also went to church with me. We'd been going to church together. Well, I asked him to come back to my office one day that I needed to talk to him about something. So he come back there and I just told him. I said, I think your cousin is my biological father. And I told him who it was, and he's like, oh, wait a minute. You know he's had a rough life, and he's been rough, and he's done things. I said, I don't really care what he's done. I'm grown now. What he's done is not going to affect me. I'm stable in my beliefs, who I am. I mean, I'm not going to start doing drugs or anything. I'm not going to go to jail. I'm married. I have kids. Maybe if I would have met him as a teenager, things would have been different. But I'm an adult now. And what he's done, he's had to live with it. And it's not for me to judge him. I mean, he's my biological father. He may be. So he said, okay, I'll talk to him. So a little while later, he comes back to me at church and he says, I talked to him. He's a little nervous about meeting you, but he said it's a possibility that you could be his daughter. And I was like, okay, well, I'd like to meet him. He said, okay, well, I'll tell him. Well, he never reached out to me, never done anything. So I told my husband one day, I just couldn't take it anymore. I said, I know where his sister lives. I'm going to go to her house. Because she had already called me and asked me questions about him being my father. But I told her that I really wanted to talk to him. But I go up to her house. Her boyfriend comes out, says she's not here right now. She's at her mother and father's house. But if you'll get in your car and follow me, I'll take you over there. So I follow him. I'm just shaking. I'm just so nervous. So we get there. I get out of the car, go up to the porch, go into the house, and which he had already went in and told him that I was there. I go in. These people are sitting around because my biological father's dad is dying. So he's on hospice, and they're all sitting around. A lot of family members. So I immediately start looking at these people and saying to myself, whoa, these people look like me. These are my people. Blonde hair, blue eyes. See, that wasn't in my family that I was in. My mom's a redhead, green eyes. My sister has brown hair. My brother had red hair. My baby sister has black, brownish hair. I didn't look like anybody in my family. So when I met these people, it was like, all of a sudden, these are my people. Where have they been? So I had felt like I had known them all my life. So his sister comes up to me and says, he's at work right now. He's not here. But if you'll wait, we're going to get in touch with him and let him know you're here, and he'll come by. So they did, and he come by, and I was on the back porch speaking with the rest of the family, and he opens the back door, and we just look at each other and just grab each other and hug each other. He starts crying, and I can see that I look just like him. Blue eyes, blonde hair. I act just like him also. I mean, I have his strong will, his personality, his positive outlook on life. I mean, I just have mostly everything about him is me. And I think that's what my mother saw as I was growing up, him in me, and that's what made her so angry about having to watch me grow up, because at one time, it was said that she wanted to give me up for adoption before she had me, or after she had me, and that my grandparents told her no, that wasn't an option, that they would help her as much as she needed it if she would go ahead and keep me. So she did. Now, that was just a story that someone had told me, and I don't know if that was true or not, but it was a very reliable source that told me. A lady that I trusted a lot more than I trust my mother. But anyway, we meet. He tells me the whole story of how he and my mom got together and how they knew each other, and that I was a result of a one-night stand, and the things that my mom would never talk to me about. I mean, all she had to do was just sit down when I was young and talk to me, and it would all been okay. But she wouldn't do that. So I didn't want her to find out that I had met him, because through the grapevine, for her to be able to say that I snuck around and found him. So I went straight to her after was at their house, and I told her, and boy was she angry. She did not like it at all that I had went to see him. So I found out, and when I did, it was just like all that abandonment and all that missing piece of who I was gone, because I knew now the puzzle had been solved. And it was like everybody knew who my father was but me, and nobody would tell me. Come to find out, my mom's sisters knew, my grandmother knew, everybody knew, but they wanted my mom to tell me. None of them would tell me. Which I went through so much because my daughter was born with complications. The doctors came in and said, look, we're going to need your family history, your husband's family history. I said, look, I can't give you my dad's side because I don't know who my biological father is. So I can't give you that side of my life. I don't know it. And they thought what was wrong with her may have been genetic and come from one side of the family. But I couldn't give them that side, which upset me tremendously because it was my child that was suffering and I couldn't do anything about it. And my mom still would not tell me after she knew that my child had something wrong with her. But anyway, that's another story. But I am telling this story to tell you, I am thankful that I found my biological father. It filled a void in me that had been there for years that I didn't know. Even if the relationship is not as strong as I want it to be today, it still fulfills me to the point that I got to know him. He got to know my children. And I could still call him today and he would do anything for me. And he knows he can call me. But if you're out there looking for someone, your mom, your dad, a sibling, someone that you've been striving to find over the years and hadn't been able to, I would say 100% do it. It's worth it. Now, if you're living in a situation where you're happy, it's not bothering you, you've been adopted, and you want to be left alone, and you're satisfied with, your life that you have, then don't go looking. I'm not promoting anyone to go out and try to find a family member that they don't really want to go find. The reason I wanted to find my dad was because I had feelings of abandonment. I wanted to find him. I wanted to know who he was. I didn't care what kind of life he had lived. I wanted to know what my DNA was. That was my main goal. And I found it out. And I do not regret it. I do not regret it in the least. Now, that's one part of my life that I wanted to share with you. I have many more stories about me finding my biological father, the relationship with my mother, my husband and I, how we our dating, our wedding, when our kids, some of the things that our kids went through. I have many more stories to share. But today, for some reason, I wanted to share that little piece of my life to let you know that I know how it feels to not know one of your parents. And if you're out there looking, I'm praying for you. I hope you find them. And I hope it turns out great. Because I don't regret finding my biological father. And I really do love him. And I'm glad that I found him. So, I'll end it there with that little short story, a little piece of my life. And I would just say to you, do what your heart wants to do. Allow it to be open to the fact that you might want to find your biological parent. If not, be happy where you are. But now I would say like, share, subscribe, and until next time, my friends and you too, we'll talk later.